Let me see.
Welcome to today's episode of the Wolf of Smoke Street Studios, powered by Expedio Payments and our partners making this movement possible. Now, today is where it all begins, where we give it no fluff, no filter. It's going to be all raw, and we're just going to talk the truth about the merchant industry. Now, before we good lord, hey guys, before we dive into today's episode, let me put you on some game. We've got some heavy hitters lined up that we have coming down the pipe, and today I want to start by announcing the Wolf of Smoke Street story. The story of the wolf will be on YouTube, and it's going to start with the episode 1. You could see where I was at, where I'm going, and how I got there, my ups and downs, giving you guys the actual raw facts of how I got to where I am today. Now, after we release that, we're going to be going on to our other campaigns that we talked about yesterday. No reason to re-harp on that. But don't forget, September 8th through the 10th, we're going to be live at WSAA. Again, that's WSAA. And if you're serious about the industry and you're serious about your business, you got to be in that room. Come find me. I'll be there with the Expedio team. We'll usually have the cameras out doing all types of interviews and such, and hopefully you can catch us there. Now, one of the things is, let's take a minute and dive into what we're actually doing and why your merchant account is a ticking time bomb. Have you ever felt like you've overpaid for a service and not actually felt like you got your money's worth? Well, people don't complain about cost when they get the service and they feel like the value's there. This happens every day in the merchant industry. Merchants sometimes don't know what they're paying for. And in certain cases, it's one of those things where we have some facts here, and some of the data that shows is a lot of merchants don't even know their true effective rate. They go on ahead and they find themselves where they say, oh, I'm only paying 2% or whatever. What happens is they don't actually know the junk fees that are built in, and those are the things that come with you know, doesn't matter if it's high risk, low risk. It's a responsibilities that people need to know what they're actually paying for. Now, let's say you're talking about high risk, okay? All the time in high risk, there's associated fees with high risk. Talking about them here, we're going to talk about what happens with high risk and when you scale too quickly, all right? Um, your business could be, you start off and immediately start running high tickets, and you immediately find yourself in a situation where you don't know why, but all of a sudden you wake up and your account's on hold, your deposits aren't there, and it makes it seem like you did something wrong. And then now underwriting is, or risk is asking you for proof, or why you're running these things. And this all starts with the setup of your account. If you have the right account manager who's going to set you up right, you're going to avoid all those issues with risk when it comes down to it. And when risk holds your money, they act like they're doing you a favor. Risk departments hold your funds. Just so you know, they're not on the merchant side. The risk is like its own island within merchant processing companies. And they're there to basically protect the company. It's nothing against you, but that's how they protect their better interest against people who do fraud or people who are not doing the right thing. And fraud doesn't necessarily mean I'm taking your card maliciously. Fraud could be considered a bunch of things in our industry. And let's talk about one of them. Like, you sell a product or a service and you don't deliver it in the timeline that you say you're going to. Or somebody says, I want a refund, and within the refund policy period, you don't refund their policy. And then it's like you're now, you're trying to avoid all the questions from risk. And if you follow your account manager's directions when you set up the account correctly, you won't have to navigate the games of thrones. If your current processor or your current agent isn't really there to fight for you or to help you set up correctly, they're never eventually going to be able to fight for you with underwriting, because again, you have to set up the account correctly. And especially in the high risk world, there's a bunch of things that we can get into, and we're going to talk about the setup. And let me break this down like this, right? When you sign up for a merchant account, you're just not opening up a business tool. You're signing up for a merchant account, and you're giving like the stranger the keys to your vault. And most of those of you guys that hand over the strangers these keys to your vault, you act like it's a free sample at Costco, like here. And you don't read the terms. You don't ask about the reserves. You don't know what your actual processing cost is. You think it's, just a percentage, but then there's the associated fees. Now you're getting finessed. Let's start with like PayPal. You open up a vape shop, you sell legal products, but then Delta 8, molds, coils, the whole setup. You use PayPal to process online. Business is booming. You think you're cool. You're scaling. You're making money. Then boom, PayPal freezes you. No emails, no warnings, just a hold. You appeal. You send documents. They say tough. One guy on Reddit lost 15 grand, and we're going to show that later. Another guy said PayPal screwed his business over not once, but twice. And it's not a glitch. It's not intentional. It's just that their business model doesn't really underwrite the file correctly up front. So then when they see the scale and there's actual eyes on the account, they say, oh, Delta 8 not allowed. Glass not allowed. Lost Mary products not allowed. So before you say, oh, well, they took my money, it's your fault for not understanding the rules of engagement and the terms and conditions. Remember, they change the rules after you start playing the game. So if you're not set up correctly, you're never going to find yourself even on the playing field, because you're going to lose before the game even starts. And especially once they have your money. Once they have your money, they're in control. And let's go on to section 2. This is the ugly truth. And here's what nobody's telling you about. Processors or the acquirers aren't your partners. They're risk managers. Their job is to protect themselves from you. If you're high risk, credit repair, coaching, travel, smoke shops, digital, guns, Nutra, they're watching you like the feds watch cash deposits at the bank. You walk into a bank or call a POS rep and you say the word vape. Watch them go pay it. They don't even want your business. Suddenly you're connected to a cartel because you have a vape shop. And your vape shop could be legit. All you do is sell vapes. A new form of tobacco these days. One guy on Reddit couldn't find one reliable POS for his Delta Ape shop. Not Square, not Clover. Ghosted by Shopify. Actually banned. He was on Reddit. The details will be in everything that we're talking about will be in the description of the YouTube post so that you can go see what these people are writing on Reddit. And we're trying to explain to you guys who are in the high risk business, if you're doing legit business and following the rules of engagement, being PCI compliant, paying your taxes, and you run legit, the only problem is the industry as a whole is a red flag. And it isn't your reputation or financial discrimination against you. It's just that, again, if you don't set up your merchant account correctly, i.e. the customers having documents that understand the terms and agreements, the documents in the form of a contract or a client agreement that you outline, scope of business, your return policy, your terms and agreements, how they cancel properly, they sign off on it. Then you go on ahead, send them an invoice. They put their card in. A lot of you guys just want the sale. Give me your card number over the phone. That is like the most sketch thing when you come about it because the card's not present, yeah. But one of the things that you're doing is you're now leaving yourself open when you don't have the correct documentation. You're taking the payment over the phone and you send the customer an invoice. The customer tells their bank, I didn't know what I was signing up for. He wasn't clear. I got charged this, and they never gave me no contract, no agreement, and I'm disputing the validity of this charge. Guess what? You're going to lose every time. And that's just the way it is. And in risk, you got to understand, if your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, then you'll find yourself in a position where, hey, here's the DocuSign, here's the IP address. They signed this document understanding the terms of agreement, the scope of business, the payment structure. I sent them the invoice. The invoice will capture where they properly signed and put in the information. Then you could say, I have the proper documentation. Then it's a back and forth on did you deliver in time, things like that. And you don't automatically lose. Those are the things that will protect your account, nurture it, and have it, moving long term. What you want to avoid is getting shut down, getting your account locked, and again, eventually getting your account closed. Because those are the orders in which they do. First, they shut, they lock your money up, and then they put you on hold, and then they shut your account down. Now, half of you guys are out here selling this zero fee bull crap. And you guys don't even know the difference between interchange, assessment fees, dual pricing. There's a lot of different things that come in with this, zero fee. And there's the proper way to explain it. And you guys need to be more specific when you explain to your customers about how cash discount works and how they properly supposed to post the cash discount pricing when the customer comes to the register. If they pay cash, it's actually less. You got to educate yourself as either the account manager in what you're selling or you as a merchant. If you merchants are out there, ask, what type of fees do I have associated with this? Is there a yearly PCI compliance? Is there a yearly fee? You know, a lot of people talk about, companies giving free equipment away, and then they get this 1 year charge, $250. This was just announced a few days ago. Shift 4 is going to be going on ahead and charging $250 per year, some type of fee. Processors are making money, and you're confused on how. And confusion is profitability, because a confused merchant that signs anything doesn't understand the terms of agreement, and they're setting themselves up for failure. This is why it's important that you pick the right account manager that's going to set you up correctly. Sometimes, and I find this in my personal experience, somebody's coming to me. They're trying to sign up. I'm telling them, change your contract. You need to change your refund policy. You need to do this. They find it as like, oh, why are you giving me a hard time? Brother, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. What I'm trying to explain to you is, if you set up your contracts and you set up your process correctly on the upfront collecting payments, you'll be able to nurture your account and have a longevity in a business. If you're here just for a few months, I don't want you. My business model runs on longevity in building solid relationships. I don't want to go on ahead and say that Expedio is better than XYZ company, but what I know that I'm better at is building the relationships with people, understanding how to help you set up your account correctly, and to get you a nurtured account so that we have a long-lasting relationships. A lot of people that I have done business with over the years, they send me all types of referrals. There are people that have had business with me, sold the business. They're talking at dinner with somebody. They say, oh, no, I got the best guy. And they give them my number. And they say, Joe Schmo sent me. Oh my God, how's he doing? I haven't talked to him in years. Let me call him and say thank you. What type of, and I do my business. So one of the things that I like to say that differentiates my relationships with others is, I like to make sure that I do business with people who I feel have the right business structure, have the right integrity, and that are looking for a long-term relationship. Now, I'm not going to say never use Stripe, PayPal, or Square. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is, PayPal, Square, and Stripe are such large conglomerates, you're just another number to them. But when you come over to Expedio, you're appreciated. We offer you concierge account service management, setting up your proper mid with underwriting, getting your documents aligned. And if you need help with any of this, you can always comment in our DMs Wolf on Instagram, or tell us exactly what you need in a DM, no charge. We'll go on ahead and do a side-by-side comparison on how we can help you. But with that said, it's not so much about how we can help you, but how we can help you and build a long-lasting relationship. This isn't just a show for the industry. This is things that I want to put out there, and there are going to be people that are going to hate, and that's fine. I don't come here to be liked. I came here to wake you guys up. Subscribe, follow, join the syndicate, because remember, as a group and as a community, we can all learn from each other, build, network, and it's not just about making a buck. It's about education, it's about building relationships, and if you landed on the high risk label or in that high risk tab, that just means you're ahead of the curve. You're a future innovator. Don't give up on yourself. Give Expedio Payments a shot. We'll make sure we make it happen for you guys. And I want to start off by thanking a few people before I end. I want to start off by thanking my production team. They are by far the most patient people in the world. Without my team, I couldn't make none of this happen. And again, I really just want everybody to really just understand that we appreciate you as a team and as a corporation. Not only the podcast, but the sponsor. I know the sponsor really appreciates us as well and appreciates you guys. Thank you so much again. And again, if you have any questions, don't be scared to DM us. Don't be scared to use any of the links in the bios. Everything that we talked about today will be in the description. And again, don't forget, please follow and check out the story of the wolf that'll be posted today on YouTube. Again, guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you taking your time and energy to watch. And for everybody who wants to join, again, we'll be here tomorrow.